Hey everyone, welcome to the Nicholas Snow Show on PromoHomo.TV. I am your host, so I guess that makes me Nicholas Snow. I'm so excited about the show today. Chih, Lynn, and Michael Dorsey are former engineers who quit their stable oil and gas jobs to take a leap of faith and founded Dumpling Dudez 2 years ago. And just today, they don't know I'm doing this. They're backstage. They're going to find out now. Just today, they posted on their Instagram page. And by today, I mean March 16th, 2021. They posted on their Instagram page this. It's been a year since we canceled all our events due to COVID to keep everyone safe. We still remember the moment we sat outside the kitchen, scared, defeated, and holding on to each other. We weren't sure how we were going to keep our employees and pay for our health insurance. Instead of giving up on our dreams, we went back to the drawing board and started creating a new business model with Dumpling Pickup. We reached out to our followers for support as we did a test run to sell 60 dozen dumplings. It took us over a week to sell the first 60 dozen with 14-hour days in the kitchen to make the orders. It was one of the most magical moments during our first week of Dumpling Pickup. Not only our supporters came to pick up dumplings, some dropped off frozen food as they were worried about us. Moving forward, we have created over 20 unique dumpling flavors and sold over 50,000 dumplings to date. I can't read their emojis, but then they also say, "Thank you for being our sunshine through the storm. Love, Mike and Chih." They are coming up on the show today. It's going to be a very special episode. For their support of my show, I want to thank DAP Health, keeping me alive for the last 10 years, serving the greater Coachella Valley, and for their support 849 Restaurant and Lounge here in Palm Springs. I know the Dumpling Dudez would love it. And did you know, probably like some of the ingredients the Dumpling Dudez use, you are 100% organic. What does that mean? Well, if I paid to boost my show on Facebook, it would be called a boosted post. But if you find it because of the value of the content and you share it, that means my reach is organic. So my reach for this show is 100% organic. I trust the value of the show to attract the audience, so subscribe and share. And I have official merch now on Amazon. If you send me a selfie of yourself, that's redundant, wearing the merch or using the phone cover or whatever, I'll stick it into the show. Also, I want to let you know, in June, I'm launching a limited series in which I'll be spotlighting my book, Life Positive, A Journey to the Center of My Heart. It's a living powerful with HIV memoir. And also in the book, I write about the ultimate creation of an anthem to promote HIV testing and safer sex. And you can hear it by asking your smart speaker to play "The Power to Be Strong" by Nicholas Snow. For those of you out there that are directors and casting agents, check out my acting clips at this particular link. And if you want to subscribe to PromoHomo.TV for as little as $3 a month using the Patreon platform, you can find how to do that by going to PromoHomo.TV/superstars. And I very much appreciate your support. And the most recent superstars are listed in the opening credits that you are about to see. Save the date. So I'm the official PromoHomo.TV is the official worldwide broadcaster of Palm Springs Pride. And I can now tell you that it is safe to save the date, November 1st through 7th, 2021, with the main events Friday through Sunday, November 5th and 7th. And over the months, you'll be able to find out more about what's happening. I'm also a proud media sponsor of the LGBT Community Center of the Desert. You can find them at thecentercv.org. They're reimagining their red dress event on the anniversary of their food bank. So definitely go and check them out. With that, and without further ado, I'm going to be right back with my special guest for today, the Dumpling Dudes. Oh, 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 oh. I love it when I see my guest dancing backstage to the music. If you ask a question or make a comment during the show, you may be featured on screen like this, so I encourage you to do that. And without further delay, let me bring on the Dumpling Dudes. Hi, guys.
Hey, how's it going?
We forgot you still see us. We were like,
Yeah, that's great. I loved that. So it's Chih and Mike. I know that sometimes, Mike, you use Dorsey and sometimes you use Lynn, which is your married name.
Actually, we kept our original, I guess not maiden names. We don't have maiden names, but our own last names when we got married. So I'm still Mike Dorsey. He's still Chih Lynn.
Okay, well, congratulations on surviving the pandemic.
Thank you. Thank you.
And also on your really wonderful love story as well. Speaking of which, you both come from the oil and gas industry. I'm guessing that you met through the industry, but I could be completely off on that. So tell me how you guys met.
So yeah, I'll do this one. Yeah. So actually, I was going back to school to get a degree. This was back in 2007 for chemical engineering, and we actually met online. So back then, there wasn't Tinder or any of our other apps that we have out there. So we actually met on gay.com, and we talked online for about 3 or 4 months before we met in person.
What cities were you in at the time?
I was in Austin, Texas, and he was in College Station, Texas.
Okay,
so they're about an hour and a half apart. Yeah, about an hour and a half apart.
Oh, well, that's better than LA, New York. I mean,
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, so we talked online for about 3 or 4 months, like I said, and then Chih got a job offer back in Austin. So we got together at this coffee shop, one of our favorites, and it became the place where we had our first date, and became the place where we got engaged. And it's just been a part of our life in Austin. And still, we go back and visit. It's one of the places we always go to. It's a beautiful spot, beautiful, beautiful place. Right on the water, coffee deck, boats. It's really
cakes.
Pretty. Yeah, cakes. Yeah, lots of good cakes.
So, were you working in different companies then within the gas and oil industry?
Mm-hmm.
Right, I was working at Dell for the high-tech industry actually at the time for 2 years. So yeah,
Okay.
It's very different. I was in oil and gas. I moved out of oil and gas for 2 years, and eventually come back to Houston, and that's when Mike kind of followed me back, and then back in oil and gas again. 10 years ago, 12 years ago, yeah.
And then I started in home remodeling, and then I went into oil and gas after that. So we've got kind of a bit of a different background, but oil and gas for the past 15 years. Or I guess not now, but 15 years before we quit. Yeah.
Okay, so I personally know, one of my goals is to inspire people to identify and follow their dreams.
Right.
And you two are doing that. And I know that it's very scary, but the payoff, you can't put a price on the payoff. You can't put a price of just being in the pursuit of your dreams and living them. And I was curious if you would explain how you came to the decision that you guys were going to go for it, and more particularly, how did you come up with dumplings?
Right. It kind of all started. It's really when we're thinking about what to do. Let me back up. Chih came to me and he said, I want to quit my job, which is totally out of character for him. He's very much climb the corporate ladder. And when he came to me, I was like, wow. I was like, really? Okay, let's start tomorrow. Let's build a business together. That sounds amazing.
So it took a while to get there, I have to say. So I was engineer, eventually moved my way up to become a director for marketing of the oil and gas company. And then I was just very miserable. I mean, I just not very happy where I am. Because being a corporation, it's great. I mean, it's very stable, very good. You meet a lot of great people. But at the same time, for the culture, for you to be able to successful and move up the ladder, you had to give up a lot of being who you are, right? You have to stay quiet. You have to fit in. They value so much about how you fit into their culture, that you kind of feel like, yes, you can fit in, but I don't feel like I belong there. So I remember 2 years before I quit, we went on vacation in LA, actually, to the beach. And then we were just, every morning, I will walk up the beach house, our friend's house. I walk on the beach on the vacation, and I would just sit outside and just cry. Like every morning I go there and cry. I was just so miserable. I couldn't find a way out. I was just so miserable. And then that's when I kind of realized the money is good, it's stable, but I'm so unhappy. I want to do something else with my life. So I look back and see, well, when do I feel happy? When do I feel fulfilled? And that's when dumpling kind of come around. Every time we do a dumpling experience, everybody get together. There's like love, there's like community. We've been doing that for 10, 12 years. So that's when I told Mike, let's just quit our job and see if we can create experiences for people, because that's what we want, is for people to find themselves, to find good experiences.
Yeah, dumplings has been a big part of our life. When I first met his friends, we had a dumpling making party. And so everybody brought their own filling, and we had store-bought wrappers back then. So we sat around and we just made dumplings, and we ate dumplings, and we froze them, and we talked and got to know each other. It was a really fun experience. It's so much fun. We did it with my friends very shortly after that. And it just became a tradition in our house to have friends and family over, whether it was, school buddies or, anything from the gym, anything, and just have fellowship and have good food. And so that's what we wanted to try and bring to people and kind of demystify this whole making of dumplings, right? It can be an art form. It can be delicious. It can be really anything you want. It's a great vehicle for being creative as well.
Right.
And that was really, really important to us, because we felt like our creativity was very stifled in our jobs before. And so we had so much passion that we wanted to throw into something. And so developing the colors and developing the recipes has really kept us passionate about what we do.
Well, that was a brilliant setup for a surprise I put together for both of you and the audience. And here it is.
Thank you so much.
I love
that. Oh my god.
I saw. Yeah, I was watching you watching the video, and I just wanted to put together a greatest hits for you, and my favorite part of that is "Move Over Willy Wonka." It's Dumpling Dudez and the Rainbow Factory.
That's right.
Thank you. That's super cute.
That's awesome.
Tom is watching. He says, "Terrific video." I don't know if he's one of your. Is he one of your friends?
Yeah,
he is.
Thank you, Tom.
Thanks,
well,
Tom.
thank you, Tom.
Thanks for all the support.
And I think that it's just fantastic that you are doing what you're doing. Now, when COVID hit, you needed to revisit your approach, and but now Texas is one of the first places to start opening up again. To some people's chagrin. What is your approach to revisiting what is your approach and your timing for when and how you might be doing things in person? And tell me what you're doing virtually also.
So before we start, I kind of want to, because when Texas reopened this last Wednesday, and when they made the announcement, we actually make a post on our social media, and we said that we understand the decision, but we are still going to follow the CDC guideline. Whenever come pick up dumpling, we're still going to wear masks because safety is a lot more important to us than the revenue, and as far as class goes. So that post, it just purely tagged with a rainbow background, became the most liked post for Dumpling Dudez in 2021. So all these people in Texas really care about their safety. So there's a very, very good community that we have here. People still care. People still doing the responsible thing, and we are part of the business. We want to make sure people do the responsible thing, and everybody we work with are still being very responsible because we think that's the right thing to do. And then Mike can talk about class openings and the rest.
Yeah, definitely. So our virtual classes. So actually, right here behind you, from that video, you can see this is where we used to teach classes. We had a nice setup. We're actually on the table we used to teach at right now, doing the virtual with you. So we started here doing in-person classes, about 15 to 16 people, and then it got big, and we had a corporate event corporation come to us and say, "Hey, will you come do an event for all of our sales team?" We're like, "Sure." You know how many? And they're like, "About 30." We're like, "Oh, okay, yeah, sure, we can do that." So we took it on the road, and like you said, COVID hit, so we couldn't really do that as much anymore. The dumpling pickup became kind of the sole thing that we did for a long time. I was very unsure of what we were going to do. It was always, again, like one step forward, and then you'd hear a big outbreak, and everybody's take multiple steps back. So we played it very cautious, and I think that a lot of people were on board with that because it was just such an unknown thing for everyone. I mean, you don't put it in a business plan, you don't put it in your social plan. It's in no plan anywhere. So we did that for a while, and we were like really missing the classes because that's really what we want to do, is the experience. And so we started doing the virtual classes. I guess it was back in October.
Right.
So you can order a box from us, and you get 7 colors of dough. You get 2 types of filling. You get a rolling pin, a logoed apron, some kimchi that's made locally here as well, and some other little things just to have fun with for the evening. And it's a lot of fun. We've been doing that now corporate again as well too. Have been picking up a lot more. So actually next week we've got Rice University here. Their MBA program wants to do 5 classes in 1 week. So we're going to do all that next week with them. It's going to be a lot of fun. So the corporate part is picking up again as well. It's really nice to be working with some of these corporations that are still staying safe, still want to do the right thing, and still want to treat their employees well. And because it really just speaks so well of the companies that they are. They want to take care of their employees and keep them safe too. So we like working with those people.
So we are going to do in person again because right now the guideline is that if everybody is vaccinated, and then they can do gatherings. So we are about to get our second shot, hopefully the end of the month. And then we have going to start doing in-person classes, hopefully end of April or beginning of May, assuming that people already got 2 shots. Then we can bring them into the class, or we can go into their home. But for some of the bigger company and something that's not in Texas, we are going to open up for virtually outside of Texas. Mm-hmm. Actually, California, LA especially we had the most inquiry from LA. It's just people assuming we're there for some reason, and then they look for dumpling experience, and a bunch of companies reach out to us, including like Robinhood, Google, and some of the other companies. So We didn't have a setup yet, but working on come out with a virtual package that we can be able to supply for different county that are still probably not going to be open and still need this virtual experiences.
Yeah, right now everything in the box is perishable, so it's got to ship pretty fast, which gets kind of expensive when you're going from Houston to other points in the U.S. But we're working on something as well for bigger events too. Yeah.
But for now, you're serving your community in your local area.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And what would you describe your local area as being?
Houston and its surrounding areas.
So how far outside of Houston? But it's pickup, so it doesn't matter how far because they're coming to you.
Right, they come to us, and so if you're kind of familiar with the geometry the geography rather, of Houston, we're kind of right in the center of the bullseye, and then there's about 3 big freeway rings. It goes all the way around the outside of that. It's about 600 square miles. Of people that we've tracked coming from even Galveston County, which is all the way down by the water, about an hour and a half away. So we've had a lot of people come in and buy bulk, especially when it hit. A lot of people would come from communities and buy a bunch and then distribute them out there in the community because there just wasn't a lot of delivery food in the beginning. People weren't picking up quite yet. So we really jumped on that fast, and it picked up quite a bit for us in the beginning. But yeah,
during shutdown, we had the most fun when people come pick up dumplings.
It was, yeah.
That was the only time we get to see people. And then not only that, people will bring their whole family from like an hour away because their only day out is to come pick up dumpling. People will bring their dog and will start sharing the picture of their dog on Instagram, and more followers see it. Now it become like a thing. Everybody will bring their dogs, so we will post their dog's picture, not even their pictures, on our Instagram. And so now we have like a library of all the dogs that have picked up dumpling in the last year. It's so much fun.
Do you have doggy treats now? Dumplings that you give out?
It's funny that you asked that. We've been working on it, thinking about doing something like that. Yeah. So it's
some sort of dog-friendly dumpling.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you would like to talk about that we haven't talked about regarding your business? I'd love to get into the whole LGBTQ political evolution that you're both part of, but regarding your business, is there anything that we have yet to discuss?
I think overall, we're just very, very grateful we have people that supporting us. I mean, it's not easy, which we can talk about later, not easy being a LGBT-owned business, but the support that we get from everybody, and even in Texas. I mean, we love Texas. There's a lot of great people here. I know on the map, it looks super red, but we have really, really good people here. Mm-hmm. And then they're just supporting us and follow our story, follow our journey, help us whenever we need to. And that just means a lot to us. I always tell people that we only make a fraction of money what we used to make together in the past. But this is the happiest we've ever been. Like, our relationship is so much better. And then just, it's nice. The way to describe it is, how on Sunday you kind of have that anxiety feeling, you don't want to go to work on Monday, and then you're like so happy on Friday because your work is done. So we don't have that anxiety anymore. We're just so happy like a Friday every single day. And then that's something that very important to us. Is like, success is not just about money. It's really about having that inner peace, be happy with yourself, be comfortable with who you are. So that's very important to us. But I think people that definitely help us out. Tom online right now, especially help us out. Come pick up dumpling. We're actually making it through another TV show in Houston. It's called Houston Live. They help us out. So it's amazing people in Houston.
I have to agree with you. It's wonderful to be following your passions. So I'm right there with you. I'm following mine. You can't put a price on it. You just can't. You cannot. It's invaluable, and I hope everyone gives themselves permission to experience something like that in life. Now, on a more serious topic, and I do know that, by the way, Texas is filled with wonderful, diverse, supportive members of the LGBTQ community, and other communities as well. But one of the things that is in the news a lot is the resistance of the Republican political leadership to just plain common sense approaches to dealing with the pandemic. And then, unfortunately, and I don't need to tell you this, we have this horrific rise in Asian-directed hate crimes and speech. And I was wondering if the two of you have experienced any of that discriminatory hate speech in the environment that we're in as a result of the pandemic.
As a result of the pandemic, I don't think directly related to that specifically, but definitely to the LGBT part of us.
So I will cover the pandemic first because you hit me a little bit closer being Asian. So 2 weeks ago, when Texas made the announcement of we are going to magically open, COVID is going away, my aunt called me. My aunt, keep in mind, my aunt is 70 years old. It's
in Austin.
Super nice lady, living in Austin, which is a very, very liberal city. She was very, very worried. She only got her first COVID shot. She hasn't got her second shot yet. Whenever she go out to grocery shop, she's like, people just look at her because she wear a mask. And then she's worried if she's going to get beat up if she wear a mask in Austin, because the environment is super unfriendly. And then it just broke my heart to know that I know we can stand up for ourselves, but for my 70-year-old aunt feel like she's being discriminated. There's definitely an issue. I think a lot of people keep a blind eye. I think that nothing matters. It doesn't matter. Nobody was discriminating ACLA, the model minority, but it's not true. We're just being so silenced for so long. People take advantage of, like such my aunt being taken advantage of, being who she is. So we definitely see something like that. Personally, we do see whenever people talk about it's a Kung flu, it's a China virus. I'm not even from China, but it's the fact that the intention when you say something like that instead of COVID, it's what they meant. I mean, yeah, of course they can call it the China virus, but the intention is not right when people say that, and it's something that I had to deal with personally, and then it's extremely difficult when it's come from like family members and people that we love when they keep mentioning stuff like that, just because you can definitely feel the negativities, and then that's definitely impacted us somehow. But it's just a very small. The good thing is it's only a very small percentage of people, but the volume they speak is so loud that it's still in my head whenever that happens.
I think it's interesting that you feel that way too, and definitely validated 100%. But I'm not a social media person. Even in our job, I take a very back seat on social media, so I don't see a lot of that stuff. Mm-hmm. And so he shows me all the time, and I'm just like, what? Are you kidding me? That's so crazy. But because his job is to work on the marketing and to work, in that capacity, he sees it, all the time. And so it's definitely there for sure. It's there. Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry that that's happening, and all of us that are doing what we can to combat it. Right. And all that we can do to fight any discrimination is to tell our truth and to fight injustice. Now, I'd love for you to just speak about your experience of these issues around the members of the LGBTQ community.
Yeah.
Because you alluded to the fact that you might have had some blowback because of that.
Yeah, I'll talk a little bit about it. You can fill in. I know it's your story because you posted it online, but we definitely have a little bit. When we first started it, of course, it's all friends and family in the beginning, and so it's very warm and very fluffy, and it feels really good to start your own business and start making a little money, and and then you start branching out and posting places. Well, we posted on LinkedIn about our story about how we started our job, which we thought was very appropriate for LinkedIn. And it just talked about, the sacrifices we made to start our business and, what that was about. And it's about having a small wedding, with only about 9 people, even though I want to have like a huge wedding, and all that stuff, it was about, that was, some sacrifices we all made together. And we just talked about, what that felt like for us and how we really are so happy that we did that. And, one day we'll get to have the big celebration that we want and all of that. And, there were people that were, very, very, they talk about, we don't want your dumplings. That's sick. Talking about secret sauce in your dumplings and, get out of Texas and you don't belong here. I'm from Houston. Houston is, my home. And so it's tough, and it's not just from strangers too. Sometimes, family can be a little worse, than strangers. But what I want to say to that, though, is, for all those people that talk about all that negativity and they spout that out, from behind a computer, there are, we talked to each other and was like, should we say something? Should I say something? Should I be real snarky? And he was like, no, don't do it. And sure enough, people stood up for us. People stood up and said, hey, you shouldn't talk like that. And, taking all this great stuff. And I think the biggest piece that we'll take from that is, there was a guy on there that was in the same kind of position we were, not out at his job so much. And he went home and he proposed to his husband that night, and he was like, screw this, I got to get out. And so he went home and he proposed, and he rang back and told us, that he said yes. And so even though it was a sticky situation in the beginning and all that, telling your truth is so important. Telling our truth is so important through this, because it allows us to find other people who want to tell their truths, and you kind of all band together and it becomes this bigger truth, that gets to speak louder and louder the more people. So for us, the story, I guess the moral of the story is always speak your truth, because there's always going to be people there to help back you up if it's your truth, and there's always going to be naysayers, and there's always going to be people throwing shade, and just step out into the sun. It'll be better that way.
Yeah, definitely be the example of who you want to be. The reason we quit our job is because we can't really be fully open. I mean, of course, our close work family know everybody's being supported, but a big chunk of people still, there's still a lot of discrimination. That's why people don't come out in the oil and gas industry, like a lot of them. So when we started a business, I said, well, from day one, we're going to be who we are. We are going to tell people that we're a gay couple. This is a pop and pop business. And if they don't like us, then that's okay. Mm-hmm. They're not our ideal customer. We're not going to try to reach out to everybody. We're going to reach out to people that share the same value. So we always share story about us, and always share story about what we have to go through to what we struggle, we have to went through. And there's quite a bit. So being a gay couple is not the easy thing, even with families, right? So a lot of negative message, like Mike says, but at the same time, it's more positive message than your negative message. And I think one of my favorite messages I received from this is from LinkedIn. One of my connections reached out to me, and she said that seeing that the love you guys for each other, you can open a business as a gay couple, as a married couple, and being so successful with what you do, give me hope that my LGBT child will be okay one day, that they will not be discriminated, they will still be loved. You're the reason that I can sleep every night, because I want my child to be like you guys when he grew up. And that just like made me cry so hard, because all it takes is like one positive message like that you're impacting somebody's life you don't even know, wipe out all this hateful message that we still get every once in a while. So just keep doing what you do, and just love what you do, and set example for kids and for everybody else.
Mm-hmm. That's so beautiful. And according to Tom, you two are loved by so many. And but I want to hear more about your date night virtual experience. So do you provide the date, or do people have to come with their own date?
People actually been asking.
I know, that's really funny.
Can we do a dumpling dating game or something when we teach? But somehow
you would just say a singles dumpling experience, just targeted towards singles.
I know.
We definitely should.
Once we can open out safely, that might be something we will consider. But right now, it's just a date night package. People bring a date or family, and
it's funny. Yeah, we market it as a date night, but mostly it ends up being families. A lot of kids, and it's a lot of fun because they're actually a lot better than some of the adults out there. So
I'm sure. So we in the green room before we went live, we were talking about the evolution of LGBTQ equality in Taiwan specifically. So Chih, I don't know whether you grew up in the United States or if your roots are in Taiwan, or even what your connection is to Taiwan, but I know that you both have been there. So talk about your connection to Taiwan, and then also talk about the contrast, because you were there the year before and the year after civil unions were legalized in Taiwan.
So I moved to the U.S. when I was 15, right? So I feel like Taiwan was a lot different when I used to be living back there. It's definitely a lot cleaner nowadays, more organized. But then every time I say that, my mom keep telling me that it's always been clean. I'm just the one that always leave trash everywhere. So it might be clean all this time. I'm a better person now. When I go back, I just keep everything clean.
I can speak to that.
So I can be even more proud to being Taiwanese. This is the first country that legalized civil union marriage.
In Asia.
In Asia.
In Asia, right. And then it's a big step. I didn't think that could even happen. And then we went the year before, which they were just going to get passed, right before they're going to get passed. And just to go there during Gay Pride, year before, it's like 80,000 people. It's the largest pride in Asia. And you see people of all color, not just Asian, people of all color, they're celebrating. But the weird thing is for their parade, their gay parade is different.
It is, yeah. So whenever you show up to the parade, they hand you a color, like a color of the rainbow. And then when they're ready for the parade, you go and you stand and everybody marched. So the year before, it was this big march and everybody marches together down the street. It just becomes this demonstration. And so it's very, very different. It's not a bunch of stages. I mean, they have one stage, of course, but there's not a bunch of stages, everywhere and all that kind of stuff. It was very, very, humbling to see and kind of, how much freedom we took for granted here,
Yeah, it's definitely like a civil rights movement.
Yeah, it was a civil rights movement still. And so going back maybe, I think 18 months later, it was right after they had just passed it. And I think they expected like 100,000 people, and there was almost 150, 170,000 people. You couldn't walk anywhere. Languages from all over the world. It was just one of the most amazing experiences to just kind of walk through and just listen and see what you could hear and what you could see. And it was intense. It was very intense.
Yeah, and then just with the whole everybody supporting it, and I think the big difference is it's less of a religious issue. The funny fact is that there is a lot of opponents of the gay marriage in Taiwan, but the people against gay marriage actually they are all from the U.S. The U.S. church group. Yeah. They send money to Taiwan, trying to make it not pass in Taiwan, which is very strange to me. It's not your country. Why do you want to go there and ruin other people's freedom? But even with all that, they still pass the civil unions, and then we're very, very blessed we can actually be part of the celebration during Pride. The only downside because Mike could be a Taiwanese citizen now because it's legal in the U.S., so we can both he can get his Taiwanese citizenship in Taiwan. The challenge that we're facing right now is if you marry somebody that doesn't live in Taiwan, that person's the country that person from has to also legalize gay marriage for them to recognize in Taiwan. Mm-hmm. Yep. So that means that if you marry somebody from Japan, Korea, the marriage is still not recognized in Taiwan, which is a very big issue, especially there's a lot of interracial between different Asian country people in Taiwan. So they're trying to fight that as the next step. So I'm hoping that next time we go back, hopefully that will become the law and they will be able to marry whoever they want, regardless if it's a country already legalized gay marriage or not. So still have progress to go, but
huge first step.
We are a huge first step for us and for everybody over there.
I think it's so important to have these conversations because for many, not enough, they're living their lives as they want with the freedoms and protections that they want. But for most people around the world, when you look at our LGBTQI+ civil rights movement globally, most of the work is yet to be done, and most people do not have rights and equality. And then, of course, one of the things that I know I'm much more aware of than ever before is the whole intersectionalities of oppression and how the battles need to be fought on so many fronts. And we can all do our best to engage, to connect, to express, to learn, and to transform.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Yeah.
I'm going to show there's your website. I wanted to show it. That's your fantastic website that is artfully delicious. It is at dumpling-dudez.com. and it's got the home, and then of course you can click on classes. There's interesting information about the private events. Stay calm and order and eat more dumplings.
That was our post
Cooking.
that day 1 year ago when they shut it down. We were like, stay calm and eat more dumplings. We'll be right back.
I love that. And then there's the cooking, gift cards. Let's check out the photos. Oop. There we go. So,
oh gosh. Yeah.
that is like, it's just really so amazing what you've done and what you're continuing to do. And that actually takes us right to your Instagram page at Dumpling Dudez. How spectacular is that? That's just really amazing. And Chih, you're doing a good job with social media, because that's how I know about you. I think,
you.
and I became aware of you a year ago, I'm sure, or close to it.
I think on LinkedIn, right? Out of all places, always on LinkedIn for some reason. Yeah.
I go figure. So, is there anything you would like to say in conclusion?
Oh man, if you're looking to take the leap and start your own business, the power of now is really important. I think don't wait, don't put it off, but definitely do some planning. Take the steps to get it started. I want to tell the story about the leak. I love the story about the leak, right? Okay, so we tell the story in our class all the time. So back during World War II, when his grandmother was making the recipe, and really when dumplings were really popular at the time, pork was very expensive and leek was very cheap. So they would put a lot of leek in there. And over time, 80 years later,
which is a vegetable, right? Is leek a vegetable?
So it's kind of like a garlic chive. Yeah.
Yes.
So moving forward today, 80 years, the pork is less expensive than the leek. The leek is actually 4 times more expensive than the pork is now. And so we like to tell people, never underestimate your worth today, because you don't know what it'll be tomorrow or the next day, or hopefully not 80 years, but you know what I'm talking about. You never can tell. And never give up the lessons you've learned in life too. I use all the things I learned as an engineer. I jokingly say I used to write specs for gasoline, and now I write specs for dumplings. So that's you just always use the skills you learn. So even though you may feel like you're in a dead end job and going nowhere, you've been learning things that you just need to apply to something different, and it can change your life.
I love that. Go ahead.
Right, I agree. I definitely think everybody's unique. Be your unique self. And definitely learn how to love yourself. I feel like I have struggled my whole life I would tell myself like I love myself, but I didn't really mean it till maybe like about a year ago, halfway through this journey. It's just if you don't feel like you're worth, people don't appreciate how much your self-worth, then that's not the right place for you, for career or for your job or whatever you do. Definitely just be yourself. It's okay to be different, okay to be unique. And at the end of the day, you have to love yourself first before you can love anybody else.
I would even say it's better to be different and better to be unique. I mean, that's how you get noticed. Right? I mean, we don't just make dumplings. It's like, let's make them colorful. Let's make an experience. Let's do this. Let's do that. So it's all about, celebrating that difference and celebrating that uniqueness that I think has really helped us. And I think it helps so many people too.
Right.
I love everything you've had to say during this interview. And I am remiss that I haven't asked you, and we don't really want to spend a lot of time on it, but rattle off the wild combinations of dumplings that you have made.
Okay, fried pickle. That was probably a pretty radical one. That was good though. I like it.
Spam, egg, and cheese.
Spam, egg, and cheese. Yeah, that was that one.
Dragon fruit.
Oh, the dragon fruit one. That was interesting. We did for Halloween. We did some fun. You showed them earlier. It was candy bars and M&Ms and all kinds of stuff just to make like fun shapes for Halloween. Gosh, what other stuff? I mean, we do breakfast. We do dessert. We do funky stuff. So it's
anything that you can make, you can put it inside a dumpling. So
now you have a baby Yoda dumpling.
Oh yeah. We do make baby Yoda in class. Yeah, I shouldn't do that. Yeah, baby Yoda.
Inspired.
There you go. Inspired.
Yeah, you make a baby Yoda inspired Disney. It's inspired by you.
Exactly.
So Well, it's been an honor to meet you guys, and I think you're fantastic. I'm a big fan, and I'm so excited that more people will continue to learn about all of the good things that you're doing.
Thank you so
Thank
much
you
for
so
the
much.
opportunity. This has been a great show.
Yeah,
You're a
thank you
wonderful
so
host.
much.
My pleasure. Don't go away because I'll speak to you right after the show.
Okay.
It was so wonderful to meet these guys. I feel like I kind of have known them because I'm a fan of theirs. I wish that I could be eating their dumplings, but you know what? I've lost 40 pounds in the last year, so maybe it's a good thing I didn't have access to those dumplings. By the way, that was intentional, working with a nutritionist. Tom, thank you for watching. Much appreciated. And thank all of you at home for watching as well. I'll see you next time.
Oh, 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 oh.